Right now, your reality isn't truly yours. Your thoughts, your feelings, even the choices you think you're making, have been shaped by a system designed to control you invisibly, silently, from inside your mind. This system doesn't wear a name. It doesn't carry a flag. It operates silently, embedding itself inside your mind. The most powerful form of control isn't force. It's programming. And that programming runs through your subconscious, the part of your mind that never sleeps, never questions, and never forgets. They've spent centuries perfecting ways to influence it, not with violence, but with repetition, with fear, with distraction. And here's the part that matters most. You've always felt it. You just didn't know what it was. Until now. Because buried inside the same system that traps you is the key to setting yourself free. And it's not just spiritual. It's scientific. It starts with understanding one truth. Everything is energy. Your body, your emotions, your thoughts. And energy, when observed, closely behaves in ways that defy logic. Quantum entanglement proves this. It shows us that everything is connected. And if everything is connected, then your subconscious isn't just reacting to the world. It's shaping it. If they could program you without your awareness, you can reprogram yourself with it. And it all begins with energy. Everything in your world, including you, is made of energy. Not metaphorically, not spiritually, literally, scientifically. At the most foundational level, the universe is not solid. What we call matter is mostly space. Atoms, the basic building blocks of everything, are 99,999% empty. What holds them together isn't structure, it's movement, charge, vibration, which means everything you see, touch, or feel is energy, organized by frequency, and that includes your body, your brain, your thoughts. Your thoughts are electrical, your emotions are biochemical, your breath is the delivery system, the wave that carries information through your field. Each cell in your body is like a miniature battery storing energy, exchanging ions, sending signals. Every heartbeat sends out a measurable electromagnetic pulse, one that extends far beyond your physical body. In science, this is called the biofield, a subtle, dynamic matrix of electrical and magnetic energy that surrounds and interpenetrates your body, regulating communication between cells, organs, and systems. Ancient cultures knew this field well. They called it chi, prana, or vital life force. Different names, same principle. But here's the shift. This field isn't passive. It's interactive. It changes with your emotional state, your mental focus, and even your beliefs. You're not just holding energy, you're shaping it, broadcasting it every second. Your emotional frequency sends a constant signal into your environment, and whether consciously or not, that signal influences what you experience in return. Let me introduce you to Sarah. She wasn't into meditation. She didn't study energy healing. She was simply looking for a way to manage her anxiety through breathing. But during those quiet sessions, as she slowed her breath and tuned inward, she noticed a strange tingling in her hands and feet. At first, she thought it was better circulation. But soon, The sensation deepened. She could move it, guide it from her fingers to her chest, to her shoulders, even to her head. She hadn't read any books on meridians or chakras, but her body didn't need theory. It knew. What Sarah had discovered organically was the felt sense of energy flow, something all of us have access to, but most of us have been trained to ignore. In Eastern medicine, these energy channels are called meridians, a network that maps the flow of life force through the body. Modern science is beginning to catch up. Some researchers point to the fascia system, the web of connective tissue that wraps every muscle and organ, as a possible conduit for bioelectrical communication. Others are exploring neural currents and electromagnetic feedback loops between the heart and brain. Regardless of terminology, the truth remains. You are designed to sense, direct, and work with energy. This is not a special ability. It's not limited to monks or mystics. It's your biological birthright. You simply haven't been taught how to use it. Here's a basic exercise to get started. Rub your hands together for about 30 seconds. Then slowly pull them apart, shoulder width. Now bring them closer slowly, without letting them touch. You may feel warmth, a magnetic-like resistance, a soft buzzing. That's your energy field. It's subtle at first, but like hearing a whisper in a noisy room. With practice, it sharpens. The more you practice sensing this flow, the more attuned you become to the energetic quality of your life. You'll start to feel when someone's energy is heavy, or when a room feels off. You'll notice how your own thoughts and moods shift the signal you're broadcasting. And most importantly, you'll realize you're not just a receiver, you are also a broadcaster. Your field is dynamic. It reacts to everything you think, feel, eat, breathe, and believe. And that means you can learn to tune it. When you feel off, anxious, or drained, you're out of resonance. Your internal frequency is being shaped by unconscious inputs, your environment, your media, your habits. But with intention, you can reverse the flow. Breath, awareness, emotion. These are the dials. Shift one, and you begin tuning the entire system. Once you become aware of how energy flows within you, you begin to recognize how it flows through everything around you. Because this field doesn't stop at your skin, it's not isolated. It's entangled part of a larger matrix that connects all living things. And once you understand this energetic field inside you, the next revelation changes everything. The shocking truth of quantum entanglement. There's a mystery at the heart of modern physics, a discovery so strange. It shook the foundations of what we thought we knew about time, space, and separation. It's called quantum entanglement, and once you understand it, you may never see the world or yourself the same way again. Here's what it means. Two particles once connected remain mysteriously linked, no matter how far apart they're separated. Change the state of one, and the other responds instantly, not gradually, not with a signal passing through space, instantly, even if they're on opposite ends of the galaxy. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance, because, according to classical physics, nothing, not even light, should be able to move faster than light. And yet, this interaction appears to break that rule, and it's not just theory. In 2015, A landmark experiment at Delft University in the Netherlands put it to the test. Scientists entangled two electrons, placed them more than a kilometer apart, then changed one of them. The other responded at the exact same moment, as if space itself wasn't real. And it doesn't stop there. Physicists have entangled photons, atoms, and even entire molecules. Some are now exploring the possibility of entangled biological systems, including bacteria and living cells, which means entanglement may not stop at particles. It may extend to systems, energy fields, and consciousness itself. Let's visualize it. Imagine two mirrors. Even if they're miles apart, whatever appears in one instantly shows up in the other. Not because they're connected by wires, but because they're entangled, operating as one unified system, regardless of distance. Now ask yourself, have you ever thought of someone, and a moment later, they texted or called, felt a wave of emotion, joy, fear, sadness that seemed to come from nowhere, only to find out someone close to you was going through that exact experience, or walked into a room and felt something was off before anyone said a word? These aren't just coincidences. They're signals, evidence of something deeper at play. A form of energetic connection that exists beneath the surface of everyday awareness. Your body isn't isolated. It's electric. Every thought generates a measurable field. Every heartbeat creates an electromagnetic pulse, and these pulses radiate far beyond your skin. Science calls this the biofield, an energetic matrix that surrounds and interpenetrates your body, constantly exchanging information with your environment. Ancient wisdom has spoken of this for centuries. They called it life force, prana, chi. Modern science is just now beginning to understand its implications, because this field, your field, may be part of a larger quantum web where everything is already connected. And here's where it gets even more profound. Entanglement doesn't rely on logic. It runs on coherence. Not agreement, not similarity, but frequency alignment. When two systems vibrate in harmony, they share information instantly. Distance becomes irrelevant. This is why a mother can sense her child's pain before the phone rings. Two lovers can dream the same dream. A focused group meditation can measurably reduce stress in a city. Energy doesn't just flow, it magnetizes where resonance is strongest. And your subconscious may be the antenna, always listening, always transmitting, even if your conscious mind isn't aware of it. So let's ask the deeper question. If particles can influence each other across space and time, what about your thoughts, your memories, your intentions? Could they already be entangled with people, places, and events beyond what you can currently see? What if your subconscious, this vast processing system running your beliefs, behaviors, and perceptions, is already connected to something greater? A quantum field that responds not to words, but to frequency. Now, imagine what happens when you stop broadcasting on autopilot and start tuning your signal intentionally. What if your mind could align not just with what's logical, but with what's energetically coherent? This is the invitation to stop thinking of yourself as separate and begin to operate as part of a larger, living network. Because when you shift your frequency, you don't just change your emotions, you change your position in the quantum field. You change what shows up. What finds you? What responds to you? If particles can affect each other instantly without contact, then your subconscious may be operating by those very same principles. The only question is, have you learned how to use it? Your mind has two operating systems. The conscious mind, what you're aware of right now, is focused, linear, analytical. It processes about 40 bits of information per second, enough to carry on a conversation, read a sentence, or remember a phone number. But beneath the surface, there's another system running. Silent, powerful, unceasing. Your subconscious. It processes up to 40 million bits per second. That's 1,000,000 times more than your conscious awareness. If the conscious mind is a candle in the dark, the subconscious is the sun, always burning, always active, regardless of whether you notice it or not. This is why psychologists often compare it to an iceberg. What you see above the water, the conscious, is only a tiny fraction. Below the surface lies something vast. And that's what's truly running the show. Your subconscious regulates your heartbeat, your breathing, your immune system. It stores every memory, every association, every learned behavior. It's why you can drive a car while having a conversation. It's why you pull your hand back from heat without thinking. Because your subconscious runs programs fast, automatic, and efficient. But here's what's often overlooked. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between real and imagined experience. Vivid mental imagery, especially when combined with emotion, creates neural patterns nearly identical to actual events. This is why elite athletes use mental rehearsal. When they visualize a perfect movement, their muscles fire in micro-activations. The body believes it's happening, and so the nervous system adapts. This isn't mystical. It's neurological conditioning, and it reveals a deeper truth. Emotionally charged images are the language of your subconscious, not logic, not words. Imagery, sensation, feeling. Your subconscious isn't evaluating arguments. It's responding to signals, repetition, intensity, emotion, and symbolic meaning. This is what makes it so powerful and so programmable. Now, let's go deeper. Imagine the subconscious as a quantum processor capable of mapping non-linear patterns, holding conflicting ideas, and making intuitive leaps no algorithm can match. In fact, many of today's breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, deep learning, neural networks, probabilistic models are crude imitations of what your subconscious already does naturally. AI is trying to catch up to something you were born with. Think about it. How does your mind pull insights from dreams? Why do solutions show up when you're relaxed, not when you're thinking hard? Because the subconscious works laterally, not linearly. It connects dots the conscious mind can't see. That's why so many creative breakthroughs come during a walk, a shower, or sleep. And here's the part that rewrites your reality. Your subconscious acts like a filter. It takes in millions of bits of raw data from your senses and decides what makes it to conscious awareness. Ever noticed how buying a car makes it show up everywhere? That's not coincidence. That's filtering. That's your filter updating. Your subconscious is now labeling that car as important and pushing it into your awareness. The same filter can be trained to spot opportunity, solutions, even subtle patterns other people miss. But, and this is crucial, if your filter is tuned by fear, self-doubt, or unprocessed trauma, you'll keep noticing only what confirms those emotions. And the world around you, it will simply mirror the program you've forgotten you're still running. But when you change how your subconscious perceives the world begins to mirror back something entirely different. And that's where something extraordinary begins to happen. It's called synchronicity. Have you ever thought of someone, and moments later, your phone lights up with their message, or noticed the same number, sequence 1111, 333, 777, showing up again and again, like clockwork, or had an idea, a vivid inner pull, and within hours, you overhear a stranger speaking about it. This isn't random. It's synchronicity. Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung first coined the term. He called it a meaningful coincidence, an alignment of inner and outer events, not connected by direct cause, but by resonant connection. And the more you study it, the more you realize synchronicity is not magic. It's mathematics. It's resonance recognition. It's how your internal state begins to pattern your external experience. Here's the neuroscience behind it. Your brain is constantly bombarded by information, millions of bits per second from sound, sight, temperature, and memory. But your conscious mind, it can only process about 40 bits per second. So what determines the 40 you actually notice? Your subconscious filter. It selects what gets through based on what you've told it is important. Let's say you buy a new car, a specific make, model, and color. Suddenly, you see that car everywhere. It was always there, but now your subconscious has tagged it as relevant. And that's exactly how synchronicity works. Your subconscious begins to surface people, places, symbols, and situations that match your internal signal. But here's where it gets more powerful. Synchronicity tends to increase when three forces converge: emotion, intention, attention. When these elements align, your focus sharpens, your signal amplifies, and reality begins to mirror your inner world. You become the antenna. You broadcast a frequency, and life begins to reflect it back. It's not about bending the universe to your will. It's about tuning in to what was always trying to reach you. That's why synchronicity often appears when you're fully immersed in something inspired, aligned, or deeply present. Because in those states, your frequency becomes coherent, and coherence creates connection. Let me share a real-world example. A client of mine, a performance coach, started journaling synchronicities each day. She wasn't manifesting, she was listening. Within 2 weeks, she met 2 clients by accident, both connected to themes she'd written about. A few days later, she landed a speaking gig through a casual conversation in a cafe line. Coincidence or clarity made visible, you decide. The more you track synchronicity, the more it shows up. Why? Because you're telling your subconscious this matters, and your subconscious always listens. Synchronicity is not prophecy. It's pattern recognition, a feedback loop between your signal and the field around you. But here's the subtle secret. You can't control synchronicity. You can only tune into it. It requires clear intention, without obsessive control. Like planting a seed, watering it, and letting the soil do its job. Synchronicity is your subconscious speaking to you in the language of symbols, repetition, and timing. It's the universe gently whispering, "You're in alignment. Keep going." And it's not random. It's a byproduct, a natural result of living in coherence with your thoughts, emotions, and actions. So the question is, can synchronicity be increased? Yes. But more importantly, can it be designed? Yes. And that's where we go next. Because synchronicity is the symptom, the cause lies deeper in the laws that govern how energy moves through consciousness. Synchronicity isn't a miracle. It's a mirror. And when you learn to align with the 3 quantum laws of manifestation, you don't just notice patterns, you generate them. Reality isn't random. It responds to you, not just to your actions, but to your attention, your emotional state, and your internal clarity. What you experience on the outside is a reflection of how energy is moving on the inside. And energy follows laws. Not rigid, mechanical rules, but subtle, quantum dynamics. And when you understand them, you stop chasing change and start generating it. Let's break this down into 3 fundamental principles. Law 1. Energy follows attention. What you focus on expands. This isn't just philosophy. It's neuroscience. Your reticular activating system is a bundle of neurons at the base of your brainstem. Its job: to filter information based on what your subconscious has marked as important. The more you focus on something, the more your brain flags it. Then, like a compass, your perception begins to bend toward it. If you constantly focus on problems, your mind will find more of them. But if you shift that attention toward solutions, opportunities, or healing, your brain recalibrates. It starts scanning reality for the things that match your new filter. This is why attention is not just passive observation. It's creative command. Law 2. Energy matches frequency. Imagine your thoughts and emotions like a radio broadcast. Your intentions are the signal, but your emotional state is the frequency that carries it. You can't broadcast abundance from a place of scarcity. You can't attract clarity while resonating with confusion. If Law 1 is the compass, Law 2 is the transmitter. Whatever energy you emit consciously or unconsciously, that's what you draw into your field. And this isn't just metaphor. Studies in heart rate variability and brain coherence show that emotional states like gratitude, love, and peace create measurable shifts in electromagnetic fields, both inside and around the body. Those shifts affect how you perceive others, how others respond to you, and how your nervous system receives feedback from your environment. In essence, your state shapes your signal, and your signal shapes what responds. Law 3. Energy needs direction. Focus and frequency are not enough. You need aim. Think of energy like light. Unfocused, it glows. But when directed, it becomes a laser. Precise, powerful, transformative. Direction turns potential into action. This is where most people stumble. They meditate. They visualize. They feel good. But they never give their energy a target. They hope, but don't clarify. They want change, but don't define it. And so, their frequency loops in place. To break that loop, you need a vector, a clear image of where your energy is going. A decisión, a structure, a path. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions point in the same direction, your energy field stabilizes. Your signal becomes consistent, and reality begins to mirror it back. Let me give you an example. Elena, an artist recovering from trauma, began applying these laws. First, she focused her attention not on the pain, but on her desire to feel safe, creative, and connected again. Then she shifted her frequency through daily breathwork, journaling, and emotional release. She didn't fake positivity. She practiced resonance, a steady tone of self-compassion. Finally, she gave her energy direction. She launched a series of paintings about healing. Within months, her work caught the attention of a local gallery, then a podcast interview, then a feature in an online magazine. She wasn't chasing outcomes. She was transmitting alignment. And alignment, over time, creates outcomes. These laws are not hacks. They're not magic. They're principles rooted in quantum mechanics, bioenergetics, and neuropsychology. When used correctly, they create a feedback loop. Focus creates coherence. Coherence shapes experience. Experience strengthens focus. You become the source of the signal, not just a receptor. But here's the critical warning. You can't apply these laws halfway. Sharp attention with misaligned frequency, that's static. No clarity. No results. If your frequency is clear, but your direction is vague, you get drift. If you have direction but no energy, it's like stepping on the gas with the brakes on. All three must work together. Attention tells the universe what you care about. Frequency tells it how you feel about it. Direction tells it where to send the response. Together, they generate a magnetic field of intention that reshapes not just your thoughts, but the structure of the reality around you. But here's the truth. No matter how much theory you understand, if your brain is still firing through the same old neural highways, you'll keep returning to the same place. It's time to redraw the map inside your own mind. Because the signal isn't just coming from your thoughts. It's coming from your neural architecture. Change doesn't begin with willpower. It begins with wiring. Every thought you think, every action you repeat, is carving a path inside your brain. A neural trail shaped by repetition, reinforced by emotion. Your brain doesn't just store memory, it builds infrastructure. And like any terrain shaped by traffic, the more a path is walked, the clearer it becomes. That's how habits form, not by accident, but by design. Imagine your mind as a vast forest. Each thought, a step. Each habit, a trail. Some are highways paved, smooth, automatic. Others are overgrown, waiting to be walked into existence. Old habits are the beaten roads, easy to follow, low resistance. But transformation begins when you step off the path, when you start pushing through the mental underbrush, creating a new trail, one thought, one action, one repetition at a time. It's uncomfortable, at first, unnatural, but it's how change becomes real and permanent. This is the process of neuroplasticity. Your brain isn't static. It reshapes itself based on use. Neurons that fire together, wire together. And neurons you stop using, they disconnect, fade, and dissolve, like trails no longer walked. So how do you rewire your brain intentionally? Here are 5 science-backed steps. E. Start small. The brain resists big changes. It's built to conserve energy. So instead of setting grand, overwhelming goals, choose one micro-shift. If you want to meditate, start with 2 minutes. If you want to exercise, begin with 5 push-ups. Small wins build momentum. And momentum builds belief. R. Link new habits to existing ones. This is called habit stacking. Pair a new behavior with something you already do. Want to practice gratitude? Do it right after brushing your teeth. Want to stretch? Add it after your morning coffee. This links the unfamiliar with the familiar and helps your brain build connections faster. San. Repeat daily. For at least 21 days, neural pathways need consistency to strengthen. Missing a day won't break you. But consistency, even 5-minute compounds. Think of it like watering a seed. You don't flood it once. You nourish it daily. S. Celebrate small wins. Every time you follow through, take 10 seconds to acknowledge it. That moment of pride, it releases dopamine. And dopamine strengthens neural learning. This is how new trails in the brain become preferred routes. Woo. Be patient with resistance. Change isn't linear. It's layered. Old roads are paved. New ones are muddy until you walk them into trails. Expect the discomfort and keep going. Even failure, when observed without judgment, strengthens awareness. And awareness rewires faster than perfection ever could. Let me share a real example. Jason, a recovering addict, knew that going cold turkey wasn't enough. His triggers lived deep in the neural trails of his subconscious. So, instead of only removing the habit, he replaced it intentionally. Every time he felt the urge, he walked. He breathed deeply. He journaled. Not once, not perfectly, but repeatedly. At first, it felt mechanical, then awkward, then natural. Within 3 months, his reward circuitry had repatterned. The urge still came, but it no longer had power. He'd built a new trail and chosen to walk it until the old one grew over. Your brain isn't the enemy. It's the terrain, and you are both traveler and architect. You can reshape it at any age, not just to change what you do, but to transform how you see, feel, and respond. But here's the truth. Changing behavior alone is not enough, because behind every habit is emotional energy. And unless that energy is transformed, you'll keep rebuilding the same patterns with different names. So yes, you can rewire your brain. You can reshape your habits. You can blaze new trails in your own mind. But the fuel for those trails, the current running beneath all transformation, is emotion. And now, it's time to learn how to work with it. Emotions are not obstacles. They are energy in motion, signals, currents, messages from your inner world. But most of us were never taught to understand them, only to suppress, avoid, or react. Yet what if emotions, especially the ones we fear like anger, Sadness or anxiety weren't meant to be controlled, but transformed. What if your most intense emotions were actually untapped power? Let's begin with anger. When most people feel angry, they either explode or shut down. But biologically, anger is pure kinetic energy. It raises your heart rate, increases adrenaline, sharpens your focus. In ancient times, it was fuel for survival. But in modern life, where there's often no clear outlet, anger becomes internalized, toxic, pressurized, stuck. What if instead of resisting it, you redirected it? Next time anger rises, don't argue with it. Notice where it lives in your body. Is it heat in your chest, tension in your jaw? That sensation, that charge is energy. Now try this. Breathe into that space. Lengthen the exhale. Then move, walk, shake, stretch. Let the body complete what the emotion started. This is emotional transmutation. Now, let's talk about fear. Fear isn't weakness. It's awareness heightened, sharpened, focused. Your nervous system is tuning in, not tuning out. But when fear lingers without resolution, it hijacks your energy and narrows your perception. Try this instead. Rather than escaping fear, get curious. Close your eyes. Scan your body from head to toe. Where is the fear sitting? This technique is called somatic tracking. By bringing awareness to the fear without judgment, you signal safety to your nervous system. You shift from reaction to reconnection. Over time, fear becomes less of a threat and more of a compass. Now, sadness. Sadness is not the absence of strength. It's the presence of meaning. You only feel grief when something mattered. In that way, sadness is sacred. It tells you what your soul is tethered to, and it carries a quiet, potent energy, if you know how to hold it. Instead of running from sadness, try sitting with it. Not indulging, but witnessing. Hand to heart. Breathe. Let it move, not explain. Your nervous system is releasing pressure. Your body is recalibrating. The alchemy of sadness is this. Feeling it fully turns it into clarity. So how do you turn these raw, chaotic waves of emotion into usable power? Start with these two foundational practices. Emotional breathwork. When an emotion overwhelms you, your breath becomes shallow, rapid, erratic. But the reverse is also true. By changing your breath, you shift the emotional state. Practice box breathing. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold for 4. This calms the sympathetic nervous system and gives your prefrontal cortex space to re-engage. You move from reactivity to presence. Body scanning. Your body often knows what your mind hasn't admitted. Start from the crown of your head. Move your attention slowly downward. Notice areas of tension, heat, constriction. Ask yourself, what is this sensation trying to tell me? You may not get a verbal answer, but your intuition will respond, because the body speaks in feeling and the subconscious listens through sensation. This is why emotional energy is so closely tied to intuition. Gut feelings, heart pulls, instincts that arrive before thought. They're not random. They're your biointelligence translating subtle shifts in your environment. When you ignore them, you disconnect. But when you attune, you begin to navigate reality from a place beyond logic. You begin to move like water fluid, responsive, calm under pressure, yet powerful in motion. The truth is this: you don't need to eliminate emotions. You need to understand them. Each one carries a unique frequency, a signature, and when you integrate it, you upgrade your energetic system. Emotions are not weaknesses. They are currents of energy waiting to be turned into momentum. And once you've learned to transmute emotional energy to move it, feel it, direct it, you become the artist of your inner world. You gain the power to paint new pictures in your mind. Images so vivid, so coherent. They begin to ripple out into reality itself. This is where we turn thought into signal and imagination into blueprint. Welcome to quantum visualization. Your mind doesn't just imagine reality, it rehearses it. It constructs it. Visualization isn't about fantasy, it's about encoding. Every vivid mental image you create, especially when fused with emotion, sends electrical signals through your nervous system. Your body responds, as if the experience were real. And neuroscience has the evidence. Functional MRI scans show that when subjects visualize an action, the same regions of the brain activate as when they physically perform it. Motor cortex, cerebellum, basal ganglia. The brain doesn't wait for proof. It believes the picture, which means what you imagine with clarity becomes instruction to your cells, to your behaviors, to your environment. Let's try a simple experiment. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture an orange. See its bright color, its textured skin. Now imagine peeling it. Watch the zest spray into the air. Smell that sharp citrus. Feel the sticky juice on your fingers. Taste the tangy sweetness as you bite into a segment. If your mouth just watered, that's not magic. That's neurobiology. Sensory imagery triggered real, physical response. Now, imagine if you applied this same vivid detail to the future you want to live. But here's the key. Fuzzy thoughts create fuzzy reality. Most people don't get what they want, not because they don't try, but because they never formed a clear signal. Vague desires, like more success or better health, have no shape, nor frequency. They're just noise in the field. Quantum systems respond to coherent input, like a tuning fork. The signal must be stable, specific, and charged with feeling, because in the quantum field, emotion is the amplifier. It tells the system, this matters. So how do you visualize effectively as a creator, not just a dreamer? Start here. 1. Pick one clear intention. Clarity creates momentum. Want a new job? Don't just want change. Visualize the offer email. See your name on the screen. Feel the excitement, the pride, the relief. Anchor it with sensation. R. Engage all 5 senses. Reality is multisensory, so your visualizations should be 2. What does the room smell like? What textures are beneath your fingertips? What ambient sounds are in the background? The more senses you activate, the stronger the neural network you're forming. San, enter the alpha state right after waking, or just before sleep. Your brain naturally drops into alpha frequency, a calm, receptive rhythm ideal for programming the subconscious. In this state, mental images bypass conscious filters and go straight into long-term coding. 5 to 10 minutes a day is enough, but intensity matters more than duration. Sit. Add emotion as fuel. As you visualize, ask yourself, what does this outcome feel like in my body? Is it a lift in your chest, a warmth behind your eyes, a softening of the breath? Emotions are not just decoration, they are directional force. They infuse the signal with voltage, gratitude, relief, joy. These states signal already happened, and that's what the subconscious locks onto. But here's what separates passive imagining from true quantum creation action. Because mental rehearsal sets the stage, but your choices, habits, and environment are what anchor those patterns into form. Visualization is like programming a GPS. But if you never drive the car, you don't arrive. The field responds best when thought and action work in coherence. Apply for that role. Send the message. Take the class. Speak your vision aloud. Every small step you take reinforces the image and accelerates the feedback loop. Real-world example. Elite athletes have used visualization for decades. They mentally rehearse movements, not just once, but hundreds of times. Their bodies adapt, their reflexes sharpen, and performance improves, even when they're not physically training, because repetition in the mind is replication in the brain. You can apply this to public speaking, healing, relationships, or finance. You're always rehearsing something. The question is, are you doing it consciously or by default? Visualization isn't pretending. It's pre-creating. It aligns your nervous system, your habits, and your awareness with a specific version of reality, and over time, with consistency, that version becomes probable, then inevitable. But mental imagery alone isn't enough. It must be supported by real-world momentum, by tools and practices that bridge imagination with embodiment, because the goal isn't to stay in your head. It's to build the bridge between mind and matter. And that's exactly what we'll do in the next part, with 5 reality-shifting tools that anchor the energetic into the physical. Let's make the intangible tangible. Art. Visualization is powerful, but power without grounding becomes scattered. To bring the invisible into the visible, you need practice, tools that anchor your energy, direct your intention, and rewire your nervous system. Because it's not just about what you think, it's about what you embody daily, consistently, consciously. Let's look at 5 practical, research-backed tools that translate quantum alignment into everyday action. Tool 1, the mirror method. Each morning, stand in front of a mirror. Look directly into your eyes, not at your face, but into your awareness. Speak your intention aloud in present tense. I am grounded. I am already attracting aligned opportunities. I am creating exactly what I choose. When you maintain eye contact, you bypass surface resistance and speak directly to the subconscious. Repeated daily. This process activates the brain's default mode network, reinforcing identity, expectation, and behavior in alignment. You're not affirming to the world. You're affirming to your own neural code. Tool 2. The 5 to 4, -3, -2, 1 grounding reset. When stress or chaos pulls you out of center, this sensory-based protocol reattunes your system. 5 things you can see. 4. You can touch. 3. You can hear. 2. You can smell. 1. You can taste. This technique activates your somatosensory cortex, pulling awareness from reactive thought loops back into embodied presence. It's a pattern interrupt. A return to now. Use it before big decisions, when anxiety spikes, or any time you feel disconnected. Tool 3. Reality scripting. Take 5 minutes each morning and evening to write your life as if it's already happening. Describe the sights, sounds, and sensations. What your day looks like. How you feel moving through it. Write in present tense. Engage all 5 senses. This process rewires the hippocampus and engages prospective memory, training your brain to anticipate, expect, and move toward your vision. Tool 4. The energy bubble technique. This is energetic hygiene for your field. Visualize a clear, radiant bubble surrounding your body. Now, infuse it with the emotional frequency of your desired state. Confidence, clarity, abundance, healing. Throughout your day, this bubble acts like a resonant shield. It filters external energies, helps preserve internal coherence, and trains your nervous system to hold frequency under pressure. Energy follows instruction. Give it structure. Tool 5. Pattern breaking. Most of what we call reality is habitual perception. Wake up. Same thoughts. Same routines. Same neurological loops. To shift reality, you must first disrupt familiarity. Each week, change something. Take a new route to work. Wear a color you never wear. Eat with your non-dominant hand. Speak less or speak more. These micro-interruptions activate neuroplasticity, making the brain more adaptable and open to change. Small disruptions signal a new version of you is now online. Now, you don't need to do all 5 tools at once, but when layered strategically, they form a daily rhythm, a biological tuning fork for transformation. Here's one example. Quantum morning routine. 20 minutes, mirror method, 2 mins. Set the tone. Speak into your future self. Reality. Scripting 5 mins. Anchor your inner movie. Energy bubble 1. Min. Seal your emotional frequency. 5 to 4, -3, -2, -1 as needed. Stay grounded throughout the day. Pattern break. 1. Spontaneous shift, daily or weekly. Like tuning 4 instruments into harmony, your mind, breath, behavior, and biofield now play a single, focused frequency. Let me share a real-world case. Jared was a 32-year-old software engineer, struggling with chronic depression after a traumatic breakup. Therapy helped, but something was still stuck. He felt fragmented, disembodied, trapped in mental loops he couldn't interrupt. He committed to a 30-day practice, morning mirror declarations, reality scripting before bed, a weekly pattern shift, no matter how small. By day 10, his tone changed. By day 21, his posture had shifted, and by day 30, not everything was fixed. But something had unlocked. He said, "I stopped waiting to feel different. I started acting like the person I wanted to become, and my brain eventually caught up." Because here's the truth, the tools are just maps. You're the one who has to walk. But when you do consistently, patiently, with intention, they start to reprogram your identity from the inside out. Your nervous system gets used to the new normal. Your subconscious accepts the new code, and your environment starts rearranging to meet you where you are. And when you use these tools daily, you're not just shifting thoughts. You're activating the master control panel of your reality, your body. Because true change isn't conceptual, it's embodied. And in the next part, we'll unlock how to work with the body as the living interface between intention and manifestation. Let's turn frequency into physiology. The body isn't just the vehicle. It's the interface. It's where subconscious programming meets physical expression, where thought becomes motion, where emotion becomes chemistry, where energy becomes reality. In other words, your body is not separate from your mind. It's a transducer, a living bioelectrical system that receives, processes, and broadcasts frequency. And when you learn to work with it consciously, you gain access to the deepest level of transformation, not through theory, but through embodiment. Let's start with the basics. Breath. Your breath is the only autonomic function you can control at will. That makes it a bridge between unconscious patterning and conscious presence. When you slow your breathing, especially the exhale, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system. This signals safety, which rewires how your brain processes stress, focus, and decision-making. Try this. Inhale slowly for 4 seconds. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Do this 3 times and feel the shift. In under a minute, you've altered your neurochemistry. This is bioalignment through breath. Water dehydration doesn't just affect energy, it disrupts cognition, memory, mood, and even sleep cycles. Every cell in your body communicates via electrical signals, and water is the medium those signals travel through. If you're not hydrated, your internal messaging system is running through static. A hydrated body equals a clearer signal to your mind, to your field. Sleep. Sleep isn't just recovery, it's integration. During deep sleep, your brain consolidates memory, processes emotion, and clears toxic waste through the glymphatic system. Lack of sleep equals poor emotional regulation, weakened immunity, and disrupted energetic coherence. The body speaks most clearly when it's rested. Honor that. Nutrition. Food isn't just fuel. It's information. Each bite carries a biochemical message to your gut, your brain, your cells. High inflammatory foods create energetic drag. Whole, nutrient-dense foods create energetic clarity. This isn't about perfection. It's about recognizing that your chemistry impacts your consciousness and eating accordingly. Movement. You don't need intense workouts, but you do need motion, because emotion is stored in the body and often it stays trapped unless released through movement, gentle stretching, walking in nature, even mindful shaking. These help discharge stagnant energy, reset your vagus nerve, and bring coherence back to your physical system. Motion creates momentum, and momentum creates change. Now, let's add a layer, a technique I call kinetic intention. This is where breath, posture, and focus converge to install a new frequency in the body. Here's how it works. Stand tall, spine aligned, shoulders relaxed. Take a deep, slow breath. As you exhale, speak a clear intention aloud. I am grounded. I release what no longer serves. I embody clarity and strength. Feel the words resonate in your chest. Let them move with the breath. Let your body reflect them in posture, presence, and sensation. Do this daily, even for 60 seconds. Why? Because this is how new postural beliefs are installed. The body doesn't just listen to thought, it mirrors it. You're not just a mind in a body. You are a signal broadcast through breath, posture, and emotion. Every breath, every movement, every internal state broadcasts signals to your subconscious, to your relationships, to the environment around you. And when you live unconsciously, your body becomes a repeater of old programs, past trauma, cultural conditioning, learned helplessness. But when you live consciously, your body becomes an antenna for possibility, presence, and quantum alignment. The point is not to master everything overnight, but to build biological fluency, to feel the feedback loop between your habits and your frequency. When you sleep better, you visualize clearer. When you hydrate consistently, you regulate emotions more easily. When you move with intention, your ideas gain momentum. And when all systems align, your body becomes a tuning fork for the reality you've been working to create. And if everything is already connected, then every breath, every thought, every micro-movement is broadcasting a message to the field. The only real question is, what signal are you sending? Start reprogramming. You're not here by accident. You're here because something in you is done waiting, done tolerating patterns that don't serve you, done replaying a version of yourself that no longer fits. This is the turning point. Let's drop the theory. Let's talk results. You want clarity, rewire for it. You want focus, train it. You want real transformation, build it from the inside out. The fastest way to shift your subconscious pattern: repetition, embodiment. That's why we've created the 21-day reprogramming challenge, a no-fluff, high-impact system to retrain your subconscious, to reflect the future you choose, not the past you inherited. Here's what you get and why it matters. Daily mirror prompts. Rebuild self-identity at the subconscious level. Scripting templates. Recode the story running in the background. Somatic reset rituals. Align your physiology with your intention. 21-day habit tracker. Build momentum. Build consistency. Build you. No more hoping. No more overthinking. Just clear, simple daily action designed to hardwire your transformation. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. Right now, click the link below to download the free guide. It's fast, it's effective, and it's yours. Because power doesn't come from knowing, it comes from doing daily. Enough loops. Enough waiting. The next version of you is already online. Click. Download. Activate. Now you train the mind. Now you own the broadcast. So here's your choice. Keep scrolling or start rewiring. Your 21-day challenge begins now. Click. Download. Begin. You're not here to become someone else. You're here to remember who you really are. Let the new version of you become undeniable, not tomorrow, but right now.